father like I'm Naruto. Keep the blade on me, Ichigo. Who really wanna go toe for toe? GTR from Tokyo. Diamonds whipping up on the stove. Lucky man like a 4-leaf clove. Diamonds wanna go with the
Hey everyone, it's me, Nagato's Adventure. Hope you guys are having an awesome day for today. And as the title states, I'm going to successfully teach you guys on how to install Save Manager plus how to use other people's saves on your modded PlayStation Vita or on your PSTV that is also modded as well. With that being out the way, I do highly recommend to go ahead and follow my social media so you know the latest hacking guides and tutorials on my channel. The best way on how to know when I update is of course by being subscribed to me, hitting that notification button via on YouTube, and as well by following my Twitter, because that's where I usually update my fan base and also all of my supporters when I drop out my latest content or when I have some cool things to tweet to let y'all guys know on basically what's going on in the hacking and modding scene, whether it be for the Vita, PS3 or PS4. With that being out the way, I also do recommend to go ahead and join my official Discord so you could be in the mix of things in my community. You could join via in the link in the description below, or you could just type in the URL link that is showcased on the screen. Not only you could get help and support for your favorite systems such as the Vita, or ask any general questions about modding, but you could meet new people from the hacking and modding scene. And I highly recommend go ahead and check out my Discord since we have a lot of fun in there. But with that being out the way as well, just want to go ahead and speak on some things in terms of donations. Of course, any donations to me is optional, but if you do want to support my channel in any shape or form, I recently made a Patreon. So if you want to become a Patreon and want to support my channel, you can feel free to type in the link that is showcased right now on the screen, or you could go ahead and just look in the link in the description below and follow the steps in terms of joining the Patreon. I also will have a card right now that will display my Patreon, so if you want to go ahead and support me in any shape or form, it helps with the overall development of my channel, and it helps me create these videos on a daily basis, since it does take quite a long time to produce content for you guys to watch. As well, if you also do want to support my channel, once again it's optional, you can feel free to donate to me via my PayPal. Any of the money that I may receive, as stated before, it will go back into the overall development of my YouTube, and it will help me buy things such as a newer camera, better microphone, all of that stuff, just to help with the overall development and production for this channel, and it will help me grow so I can provide the best quality content for you guys to watch. Well, all of the fun stuff getting out the way as well, we're just going to go ahead and get started on today's prerequisites. And anything that I state, of course, just like any of my other videos, will be in the download description below. So first things first, you need a modded PlayStation Vita that's already hacked. So whether you're using the Trinity, HENkaku, H-Encore, H-encore² exploit, as long as your Vita is modded in any shape or form and you could basically run VitaShell, you're fine for this process. As well, irregardless if you're on firmware 3.60 to 3.72, you could do this as long as your device is hacked. Of course, you need the latest version of VitaShell. You also need the latest version of Save Manager.VPK. You'll need a Wi-Fi connection for today if you're going to be transferring files over with FileZilla FTP client. Any game of choice. For today's video, I'll be using Persona 4. Optional if you have a USB cable, if you're going to transfer files from your PC that way, make sure you have that. Or for today, I'm just going to be using FileZilla FTP client to transfer my files over FTP. And then that's all we basically need in terms of the prerequisites for today. Some disclaimers I do want to get out the way as well before we even start, or some important information. So if you're using a no NPDRM Vita game dump, you basically need to have the no NPDRM plugin already installed. So you could use auto plugin to install it. If you don't know what auto plugin is, I will basically have a link to that in the link in the description below. It's just a program that allows you to install a bunch of plugins easily instead of manually doing it with the config.txt. So there's plugins such as no NPDRM, refood into auto plugin. So any of those useful plugins you may need for today's video will all be in that VPK, and I'll have of course a link in the description down below. Another disclaimer that I do want to state for this process, and I'll talk more about it in the video, is to make sure to verify your game's region by checking out its content ID in VitaShell. Using the wrong game region save file from a different region will result in your game into error, or it will just not work. So for example, I'm going to be using the United States States version of Persona 4 Golden. So if I were to use a Japanese save file, which is, you know, a different region than the US, of course, it will not work for this process. That's basically what I'm stating. And I'm going to be teaching you guys on how to, you know, check out your region save files and all that stuff. So another disclaimer, just to talk about is basically the PS Vita save files in terms of where to get them from. If you were looking for some custom save files, I will have a website that will be showcased right now on the screen called PlayStation Vita saves.xyz, and it doesn't have all the PlayStation Vita games. However, it has pretty much most of the popular titles for the Vita. So if you're looking for, you know, some saves and, you know, you're trying to hunt for them online, you could go ahead and check out that website as well. Another disclaimer I do want to you know, tell you guys about in terms of the content ID on how to find your game. We're going to be using a website called Renaissance, and it's probably showcasing right now in this video, and that will showcase our title ID and content ID for whatever region your game is, no matter if it's a no MPD or MDump, or if it's a cartridge based game or a PSN game that you bought via on your account. With all that fun stuff getting out the way and all of the disclaimers and prerequisites, I just want to go ahead and give a special thanks out to this developer right here for, you know, creating Save Manager.VPK. And don't forget, if you need any help or support, you can feel free to join my Discord. But with all that fun stuff getting out the way, we could go ahead and get started on the PC side of things. Alrighty guys, assuming that you did follow all of the prerequisites as stated in the intro, we're going to go ahead and get started on the PlayStation Vita side of things first. So as showcased here, the game we're going to be testing today is Persona 4 Golden. Let me go ahead and just open it up and run it just to showcase something to y'all guys here. So if I go into load game, you're going to clearly see that I never played any you know, this game at all, so I have no save data in here. So our goal is to go ahead and get a 100% save file, or just any save file of that choice, and import it into our game of choice. So what I'm going to do here now is just back out of Persona 4, or whatever game you're doing. You could go ahead and back out if you're trying to test out to see if you have any save files. What we need to do is go ahead into VitaShell. So I'm assuming that you're already on a hacked modded device for this process. So if you need to use Trinity exploit H-Encore, go ahead and do that. But what we need to do now is go ahead into UX0, scroll all the way into data in VitaShell. And then what we need to do is go ahead and hit triangle, go into hit new, go make a new folder, and all in lowercase, we're going to go ahead and clear out the text. We're going to name a new folder called Save Games, just like this, how it's showcased on the screen. So save games like that in lowercase, and then just hit enter. This is where we're going to be putting our custom save game files within our directory in VitaShell. So once we have that, what we're going to do now is go ahead and hit start on our Vita. Verify if you're going to be using the USB method. Make sure your cable is plugged into your PC. But however, I'm going to be using FileZilla FTP client, so I'm going to be using the FTP method. So for my select button, I'm just going to hit left and right on my Vita. Make sure it's on select if you're going in FTP just like me. And now once you have that all done, all we have to do is hit select onto our PlayStation Vita. And if you have your Wi-Fi showcased on, basically you should see your PlayStation Vita's IP and also the port. So from here guys, what we're going to do is transfer over to the PC and get our save game transferred over, and as well we're going to get Save Manager.VPK installed into VitaShell. Alrighty guys, assuming that you did follow all of the steps on the PlayStation Vita, we're going to go ahead and get started on the PC side of things. So as of right now, before we even get started in terms of transferring files within FileZilla FTP client, we're going to go ahead and talk about the two websites we were talking about earlier in the intro. So let's say if you wanted a custom save file for whatever game of your choice, I do recommend going ahead and checking out this website here. I'll have this website in the link in the description below. I don't think it has all PlayStation Vita games, but it basically has all of the more popular ones. So as showcased here, if you wanted a save file game for, I don't know, Soul Sacrifice Delta, they have, you know, that title as well. They have some for like Persona 4 Golden, Gravity Rush, so basically all of the more popular games on the Vita. So you can go ahead and take a look at this database here for your save game. So for today's example, since I'm using Persona 4, I'm going to go ahead and search up for the Persona one right here. So let me go ahead and hit enter and search for Persona. So as showcased here, once you type in your game name to see if it's in this database or wherever you're trying to get your custom save file from, you may be asking on this website, why is there, you know, multiple versions of certain games? So for example, I'm doing Persona 4 Golden. Why is there 3 versions when there's only just one title? Well, different versions of the game is coming from different regions. So I already know PCSE, or the one I'm highlighting right now, is the United States version. This one is the Japanese version, and this one is the European version. Now you may be asking yourself, how do I know which version is my game? Well, in this you know, simple example, I will be using a website called Renaissance, and we're going to be finding our game of choice. So here's Renaissance. This is what it looks like. It's basically a database that will showcase all of the recent latest games for the PlayStation Vita, whether it's a only digital game or if it's a physical copy. It doesn't matter. It will state the game's region, and also will state the game's name, and also will state the media ID, or as known as the content ID. So as showcased here, what we're going to do is in the search bar right here, we're going to just type our game of choice. So mine's is Persona, and I'm just going to go ahead and hit search. Now it's going to find all of the Persona games that was ever released for the Vita, and it's going to list its region and also its media ID and also its box ID if it came out via with a cartridge. So in my case, I'm looking for the United States version since I'm from the United States and I already know that I have the US version of Persona 4. What we're going to do is go ahead and click on here, and as showcased here, PSC or PSSE 00120 is the United States version of Persona 4 Golden. So this is the one for me. You gotta just go ahead and find yours depending on what game of your choice. Make sure you have the correct content ID, because if you use a save file for, let's say, another region, so let's say if I try to use one for the Japanese version right here, which is PSSG, it won't not work for this process. But assuming that you guys did understand that, for this website, I'm just going to be going to browse, and I'm going to be using any random save file. So I'll just use this one right here. It doesn't matter which one you use. I'm just gonna download this save file right here, and as showcased here, they even labeled it that this is the US version of the save file. So once you have that and you figured out your content ID for your game and with the region, and you got your custom save file from this website or wherever else, we're going to go ahead and get started on, you know, transferring these files over with FileZilla FTP client. So let me go ahead and minimize this, and now on my PC you can see that I have my save file and also Save Manager.VPK. Of course, I will have this in the link in the description below, but what we need to do now is go ahead and extract our game save file. So I'm just going to extract here with WinRAR. Since it's a .zip, you don't really need WinRAR for this, but you're gonna just extract this out with Windows. But here is how the save file should look. It should have a folder within it called slot 0, and it should have all of its contents in here. So basically it will be .bin files more than likely, and this is how save files are structured on the Vita. But once you have your save data extracted, and as shown here, this is the same content ID that we verified within Renaissance right here, so you could detail that this is the US version of the game. What we're going to do is go ahead and transfer this file over. So we're going to open up FileZilla FTP client. If you don't already have this installed, I will have that in the link in the description below, of course. And basically this program is going to allow us to view all of our directories in our PlayStation Vita, and it's going to allow us to transfer data from our PC to our Vita. So all we need to do where it says FTP server on our PSTV or Vita is just go ahead and type in our IP. Yours will be different than mine, of course, but all we need to do now is hit the port, or type in your IP and then the port. Our port is 1337 as normal, and you should see all your directories in your Vita. First things first, what we need to do is go ahead and Save Manager.VPK. We're just going to drag and drop it to UX0, and then from here, since I already have it on here, I just gotta overwrite it. But once you drag and drop that and UX0 as well, let me make this big screen. We're gonna go into our data folder. So from UX0, we're gonna go into data. And then from here into save games, we're gonna go ahead and put our save game file that we just downloaded from the internet. So here's my save game file, which is Persona 4. And if you remember earlier, I didn't have any save files. So hopefully, once we get this transferred over and Save Manager installed onto our PC, we're gonna go ahead and start with the process on the Vita right now. Alrighty guys, so as showcased here, basically our two files has successfully transferred over to our Vita within VitaShell. What we need to do now is hit circle onto our device, and what we need to do from here is hit Save Manager.VPK, or just scroll wherever your VPK is located and hit yes to install this package. Once it's fully done, what we need to do after that is just verify that our save data is in the correct location in VitaShell before opening up Save Manager. And then once Save Manager is done, what we need to do is go to our data folder, go to save games, and we should see our game's title ID. We already know that we verified this with render scene and it's already Persona 4, and you can see that we have slot 0 and we have all of our game save data. So from here we're going to go ahead and exit out of VitaShell, and we should have Save Manager onto our Vita. So here's mine right here. And then once you have Save Manager opened up, you will see all your games that you will have on your Vita. So I only have 2 in this case, but we're going to go ahead and select the game of choice we're trying to import our save data from. So I'm going to use Persona 4. Go ahead and hit X over your game. What should happen now is basically going to boot up your game for a second, and it's going to open it up. So that's what it's doing here. And then you'll get basically back into Vita Save Manager, and you'll see slot 0. What we're going to do now is go ahead and hit X over slot 0, and then you're going to get a few options. Circle is basically closing out this window right here. Square is stating that it's going to delete the saved game data if you have any in here. Triangle is going to import save data or your custom save data where you have it from, and export is basically taking the save data you have on your Vita and backing it up. So what we're going to do now is hit triangle, since we're importing custom save data, and this is the one we got off from the internet. And from here, what we're going to do now is go ahead and hit circle once again, and here is Vita Save Manager, and then circle once again. And now what we're going to do is run our game of choice. So let me go ahead and run it. And then I'm just going to go ahead and skip a couple of cutscenes right now. And then once your game has fully booted up, let me just go ahead and hit no for this. We're going to go ahead and verify that we see our saves within our game. So let me go ahead and skip some of the stuff here. And now if we're going to load game, if you remember in the introduction, we never had any of these save files. So voila, here is all my saves. And now we're just going to go ahead and verify that our saves are now running within VitaShell. Alright guys, so as showcased here, if I go ahead and back out, you could clearly see that my save data has successfully loaded into this game. You could clearly see if I hit triangle that I have enough money, and I'm basically at the end game for Persona 4. So if you ever play Persona 4, you could already tell if I go into my personas that all of my personas has leveled out. So you could clearly see that this save data did work on my PlayStation Vita. So yeah, that's how essentially you could import custom save data on whatever game you want to from various regions. So this does work with Persona 4, it'll work with Final Fantasy X, and any of your favorite Vita titles. If you guys have any questions or concerns on how to do this, or having some trouble with this process, please let me know in the comment section down below, or join my Discord. But with that being stated out the way, my name is Nagato's Revenge, and I hope you guys have a awesome day. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Nice and silky smooth. We've known each other for as long as I can remember, and